question was, how long have you and Perry been friends? Too long. Joking. 2016, I think. 3 to 4 years ago now. Also go and check him out on Instagram and his business page, which is PT_young_wolf, and his business is PT Pro Training _empire. What is micronutrients? Well, micronutrients are essential elements in small amounts for a range of physiological functions to maintain health. These are put into vitamins and minerals. Vitamins are in two families. Dissolving fat, which is your A, D, E and K, and dissolving water, that's your B and C. You get all minerals and vitamins from food and some supplements. The next question is, how hard did you find it to train to compete? I think I had some advantages as I have tried different variations of training. But, to be honest, my training is a lot better from going through prep and learning from a coach. The hardest part was training when you feel so tired from the lack of sleep and have hardly any energy from the lack of food, i.e. carbs mostly. It's hard. I also found it hard to not go heavy, but just didn't have the energy and strength near the end. So I ended up doing lightweight high reps. It's also surprising how you carry on when it's like a fog. It's like you're so tired and lack of energy, you're napping, whatever, and it's surprising how far you can go with it. My main point with it is that the main thing what helped or does help going through prep is prioritizing your energy and your time. So what I used to do was my fasted cardio, come home or do my cardio wherever, and then have breakfast, then go and do my weights, then prioritize the rest of the day because my energy levels was higher in the morning. So the next question is about overtraining. In my opinion, the only time you can overtrain is if you're not fueling it enough. So there's been times when I trained twice a day and 5-6 days a week, and even 7 days at sometimes, and after a while I wasn't feeding it enough, so I was just getting very fatigued. So it's all to do with nutrition. If you want to train that much, you need to be feeding it even more, which the problem is many people don't, so then they just get fatigued and everything else. So, in a way, overtraining can be real because you are overtraining because you're not fueling enough. But in the other aspect is, if you fuel it enough, are you going to overtrain? There's also the added, if you're natural, your recovery is going to be a lot more rubbish than if someone's on stuff. So, is there going to be overtraining if you're on stuff and fueling it enough? Probably, definitely not. But it's very rare that anyone can actually fuel it enough for that much training. That's my point on that. Oh, so that could. someone's asked me to discuss something, and it's going to be a big part of this Q&A. So there isn't going to be hundreds of questions on this Q&A, but I thought I'd just go through this. A pre-warning, I'm no expert on this stuff, far from it, and this is from research basis, and I'm no doctor. They basically said discuss anabolics, not enough do it, and helps the safety and knowledge of youth. Thinking about it, it's not prevention, it's about preparation and safety, which is a good point, I think, because you ain't going to stop people from doing it. My advice from research purposes, I would say these things to start with. You don't need them if you're very young, or you're young, like 25, under, even a lot higher than it. Because it will just mess you up, because you're not like physically past your growth stages anyway, because you're still young, so you're still growing, everything. My next part of it is you need to have a good knowledge of training, and basically your diet, your calories will work for you, your macros will work for you, everything. You can't just come into this lightly. What I mean by knowledge of training is not just coming in and doing training, knowing how to do mind-muscle connection, and knowing how to push it more and more every year, because else you just stagnate and your progression gets slower. Sorry, I've wrote notes. Before even thinking about it, you need to research, 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 and research. Not just asking your local gym rat or competitor, anything like that. Proper research. There's books, Anabolics, what is it called? Anabolics Edition 10. There's loads of them on there. There's loads of good knowledge about everything. How it works, how it affects it, how everything, the side effects, what to do with it, the PCT, the everything really. So this comes on to my next part. You need to look into the side effects and things like AIs, which is basically like Novadex, Arimidex, stuff like that, to stop gyno or estrogen buildup. You need to also look into health supplements like Support Max by Strom Sports, and products from Supplement Needs. I don't know the exact names, but there's like kidney, liver, heart, sleep stacks, different stuff like that. You need to look into health supplements. Your sleep needs to be great, because obviously steroids just speed up recovery, but you're going to need to sleep as well to recover. You need to be able to understand your body. So I don't just mean understand like health thing, like blood pressure. I mean how you physically feel, because if you're having health problems, you're gonna feel different. That's where it comes on to. You're gonna need bloods, check your blood pressure and your heart rate and a whole load of things. Check bloods, blood pressure, heart rate. The next thing is, please dear God, don't come into this thinking more is better. Advice is start low with one compound and try different compounds for different cycles to see how the side effects are, how it reacts to you, how your body is with it. So this comes down to genetics, also your body, and also just side effects of it. Like trend side effects are very high. If you don't know what you're doing, is in such of different ways of doing cycles. Some people do high test, low trend, different other ways. It's just how your genetics and how your body reacts. Always use a PCT if you're cycling. I'm not going to discuss any other routes. I'm just discussing pure cycles for first people, for their first whatever cycles. Sorry, there's loads. My last bit of advice is I would always tell people and advise people to not take them. One is that I am not a doctor. Two, it is down to person basis whether they decide to or not. They're the ones taking the risk. Especially people who go in blind. Because it's just going to be even worse if you come in being blind, not research, not understand it. My next part is, don't think that steroids are the be all and end all. You have still got to work hard, and you need to know your diet for your goals. So either a deficit for losing weight or a surplus for trying to build. Again, have bloods done. And my one last thing that I personally want to get out there, and I know a few people either have, I think Harry the Warrior, who's on YouTube as well, and I think a few other people, probably TM Cycles has in the past, other people, is please know dosages, not mils. I've had people say to me that they are taking so many mils a week, but could not tell me what dosages of them they were taking. Take testosterone, for example. From research and people I speak to, these can start from 100 or maybe even a little bit less to 500 in some cases, depending on the labs. Just saying about mils is a stupid way to go about it. You need to know the dosages of it, so then you know what you're taking each week for your duration of your cycle. Because otherwise, one, you look really damn stupid if you're asking me, because you're not paying attention to dosages. So you could have a 500, take a mil every week, and you're thinking you're only taking 300 or 250. So you're doubling. Not many labs that I know of do 500 very much anymore. But that's just, I don't really know many, because it's just speaking to people and research really. But just for purposes, say 500. If you don't know it's 500, if you don't know, read the bottle properly and everything, yes, getting it tested is going to find a proper percentage, but just going off the bottle, say it's 500 and you're not knowing that and you think it's a 250, 300 and you're doubling that, well, you're taking 1,000. So if you're taking two jabs a week of 500, you're taking 1,000 when really you think you're taking 500 if you think you're taking 250. So you need to read the bottle and understand it, because it really does annoy me. Like, I've had conversations with people in cities down here, everything, and you get people saying, I take this much mils whatever a week, and I'm like, what dosages? And they just look silly, mate. Just stood there, that's not really knowing. It's on the bottle, mate. Just read the bottle. The bottle says, if it says 300, that's per mil. It's not brain surgery, it's that. Because you need to know that, because else you're going to fuck yourself up by doing it. Because imagine if you're taking that 500 and you're doubling that to 1,000, thinking you're only taking 500. So that's probably a big section of this, but I just needed to go through it in detail rather than just quickly answering it. I have got another question, but I'm going to video that in a minute because I need to go and get some food.